UFC 285 was an absolute banger of a fight card. There was 14 fights, every single one of them exciting, and 13 favorites won. Only one single underdog won, and it happened to be the second biggest underdog on the card, fighting the most dominant champion in her weight class. Let's go ahead and break down UFC 285. It was an interesting night money-wise because our net profit is ridiculous. We are up 13.13 net units of profit, and that includes the safety parlay, which lost. Valentina Shevchenko was in the base of the safety parlay. And it was, the way it played out was like, the arc was incredible. Because we had the fourth leg, Farid Basharat, first fight of the night, or second fight of the night, hits. Then we move our way up. Garry, the third leg, hits. Well, we're cruising. Rakhmonov, the base, hits. Valentina Shevchenko was the last one to hit all four legs of the safety parlay. She was the most confident of the safety parlay and absolutely blew it. So the safety parlay is a big miss. We're down 3 units on the safety parlay. But even with those 3 units of loss, we are up 13 units of profit. The rest of the bets hit on the right-hand side. These are all the bets that hit. The key here is Tabatha Ricci. We absolutely manhandled Tabatha Ricci on there. We had money line bets on her. We had -3.5 bets on her, which means she had to win inside the distance or a unanimous 30-27. And Jacob had Tabatha Ricci wins by submission. Mateusz Gamrot cashed very nicely for us. The Bo Nickel less than 2 takedowns cashed very nicely for us. And a lot of solid spots here. Jacob had a plus 727 parlay. It was Gamrot, Duplessis, Garry, Rakhmonov, Ricci, and Ribas. And that cashed out 16.54 units. Overall, phenomenal card. Phenomenal night of bets outside of the safety parlay. And I know it sucks because a lot of you only tail the safety parlay because of how successful it has been. The only thing I can tell you is we were up 21 units on the safety parlay going into last night. We're still up 18. So if it was your very first event with the safety parlay, hopefully you tailed some of these other bets because these absolutely cashed. But also, premium membership is a full month, right? Every single event. So we're down on last night. Shevchenko blew up everybody's parlays. I am just very thankful. She was only in my safety parlay, and Jacob only had her in another flyer parlay. Outside of that, we were not overly exposed to Valentina Shevchenko, thank God. Let's talk about the fights. Tabatha Ricci was our cash cow. She was our absolute cash cow. We knew she would dominate Panay. I was hoping for better odds, right? Because this fight was booked a few months ago at phenomenal odds, rebooked it, and now it's much, much wider. But she looked phenomenal. We knew she'd get the takedowns. We knew that she would do really, really well. I didn't bet her to finish because I wasn't sure, but Jacob sure did, and that absolutely cashed. So Tabatha Ricci is the real deal. Her only loss in the UFC is to Manon Fiorot on short notice at a different weight class. So I don't know who's next for her, but she should absolutely be ranked or be ranked with one more win because she comes in, she grinds with the wrestling, and she works really, really hard in there. So Tabatha Ricci, the real deal, looking phenomenal, and I'm looking forward to her next fight. I get it. Jessica Panay's 40 years old. But that's a 40-year-old with a ton of veteran savvy. We haven't seen her get manhandled and submitted like that before. So Tabatha Ricci did some very big things last night. That Garry fight was dicey. I mentioned Garry was the third leg of the safety parlay, and that dude went down like a bag of sand. And I was like, oh no, what is happening here? We knew Song Kanon had one punch KO power. I was hoping Garry would avoid it, but thankfully, he recovered well. He recovered well, and his composure and the way he bounced back was absolutely impressive. He came back out there the next round, shook it off, kept that hand glued to his head to prevent that from happening again, and came forward. Didn't chase, wasn't throwing bombs, just came forward, stayed focused, that pinpoint accuracy, and worked through it. And that was actually the most impressive thing. Seeing him get dropped like that, the first thing that popped in my head is, I've said it a million times, this dude is so hittable. Then it was like, okay, but he composed himself. He came back. It was nice to see that adversity. So he's typically a pretty unlikable guy in the microphone, but I'm loving this guy now. I'm absolutely loving this guy. The way he recovered from that, the way he came forward, I'm 11-0. I'm 11-0 and went out there and then got the win with 30 seconds left. That was another one of Jacob's bets. Garry wins inside the distance. It was like 1.5 units on that, I believe. If you bet the under on rounds, that missed. But if you did the inside the distance, that hit. So by I think it was 30 seconds left or 45 seconds left. Either way, Ian Garry making the adjustments was one of the most impressive things we saw on that card, and certainly increases a lot of our faith in Ian Garry going forward. And look at Amanda Ribas. Her striking looked good. She's typically a grappler, and then we said she would have busy striking and, would have to survive the first round, but then she should be able to take over and get the win. We both picked Amanda Ribas to win, but I don't think we expected her to win a lot of those striking exchanges. Her striking looked phenomenal. The improvements she's made there are absolutely incredible. Ultimately, she got the takedown. Ultimately, she ended up winning by finish. Jacob had Amanda Ribas by submission. It paid out plus 600. So, Jacob, all the faith in the world. And if you saw all week long, he wore that stupid ass shirt. And oh my God, that freckled dork absolutely did it. He was in Vegas for the fights, wore that dumbass shirt. And Amanda Ribas walking out of the cage, her in her corner, spotted him, saw the shirt, ran over, took pictures. Jacob is all over Amanda Ribas' Instagram story. There's a ton of videos floating around, so check out our weekend review video. I clipped it in there. Check out Twitter, all the things. But Jacob went to Vegas, wore that stupid shirt, and it worked. He got the time with Amanda. She loved it. He was all over her her Instagram stories. Overall, Amanda Ribas looked absolutely phenomenal, worked in the takedowns. Her striking looked great. All of a sudden, Amanda Ribas is like, oh, shit, she might be able to do something in this division. And if you don't think that the Du Plessis-Derek Brunson fight was one of the sloppiest fights you've ever seen, I don't know what you're looking for. Entertaining, of course. That was very, very entertaining. Derek Brunson came out there looking like, that first round, holy shit, he beat the crap out of Du Plessis. Got the takedowns, was landing big strikes. Du Plessis was gassed, looked awful. Derek Brunson started to fade a little bit once he was taken down, a little bit clueless. But that fight was sloppy. Listen, Du Plessis got it done. Du Plessis won inside the distance. And a lot of you are going to forget what this fight looked like. And next time Du Plessis fights, you're going to see on Tapology, Dricus Du Plessis wins KO, TKO, because it's a TKO. Technically, his corner threw in the towel. But you're going to forget how awful he looked. Du Plessis is overrated, sloppy. And if they give him anybody with cardio and some accurate striking, Du Plessis is done. That dude is done. I cannot wait. I'm looking forward to him being a massive favorite, and they're going to give him a top 10 opponent who isn't 40 years old like Derek Brunson, and he's going to get smoked. And you guys are going to leave all these negative comments. People have you ever see those memes on Twitter where it's like Elon Musk, valid criticism, then it's like weird nerd, and it's a guy jumping in front of a bullet for Elon Musk? That's what happens with Dricus Du Plessis. People are obsessed with the guy, refuse to see that he's sloppy and has some huge technical gaps. We'll see. Very entertaining. Phenomenal fight. Lived up to the controversy, the hype. It was exactly what we thought it would be. Derek Brunson's going to come in, have some success, ultimately get hit too many times to be done. Congrats to Derek Brunson, though. This dude put together a really nice career these last couple of years. Did what he could do to try to win this fight. Ultimately, he's older. He's slowing down. A chin is a chin. And good for his corner, right? They saw he got hit a couple times on the ground, turned his head like this. They saw he was done. But this fight was sloppy as hell. Let's not forget that next time Du Plessis fights and he's a massive favorite for some reason. We still don't know if Bo Nickel can strike. We still don't know. We have no idea. We know he can wrestle. We know he's a beast on the ground. We don't know if he can strike. I do want to see, what happened in this fight is what everybody thought would happen. A couple of stuffed takedowns, but those were half-assed takedown attempts, if you will, right? He came in, threw the underhook, chased the leg, backed out, tried it again. I think he was technically 1 for 4 in takedown attempts, but again, in a few months, if you're looking at the stats, don't be like, oh, wow, 1 for 4. And Jamie picked, no, they were not full-blown takedown attempts. And once he got it to the ground, that was the end of that. I do want to see him strike. I was kind of hoping that he would come out here and just test his striking for a little while. Let it go. Let me get my hands. I know I'm going to get hit. It's going to hurt. Let me just get my hands going. I need to learn. And if I can't learn against Jamie Pickett, who am I going to learn against? So Bo Nickel continues to dominate. We have no idea. We have no idea. He may be the best to ever do it. He may just be a flash in the pan because once he gets hit in the mouth, that's it. We have no clue. Ultimately, he was too expensive to bet on. The only bet I had here was Bo Nickel under 2 takedowns because I figured he's only going to need 1, and that was the case. So that bet cashed. Outside of that, he was way too expensive for everybody. But we'll see what he does next. It's an interesting spot because I want him to work up. I want to be excited about him. So I don't want him to be like him versus Khamzat. Like, no, hold on. Let's just see what he can do first. So hopefully they give him another gimme fight. This was his 4th professional fight. For his 5th, let's give him somebody has some experience, has some takedown defense, and let's work the hands. Give him somebody who is not dangerous on their feet so that he can work his hands and we can see how good he is or is not. Thank God for Gamrot. Holy shit, this was razor thin. First of all, Jalen Turner is good. Very, very good. A lot of you were all over Jalen Turner, and anybody clowning anybody for missing an underdog pick this week is an absolute doofus. 1 underdog, 14 fights, 1 underdog won. And it was an underdog that very few people actually thought could win. So anybody who picked Jalen Turner and that didn't come through, don't let people bully you on the internet. People who picked Julian Marquez and that didn't come through, don't let people bully you on. Like last night, people started clowning Jacob immediately. Oh, fade of the week, loss of the week. Jacob picks an underdog every single week, puts his life on it. 1 underdog won last night, and if he put out a video saying Alexa Grasso was the best underdog on the card, nobody would have shown him any courtesy whatsoever. So anyway, Gamrot's striking looked good in this fight. Jalen Turner's takedown defense looked good in this fight. He dropped Gamrot twice. He only got credit for 1, but he dropped Gamrot twice. And Gamrot gets dropped in his fights. That's what happens. I got to tell you, I bet on Gamrot. I had 1.5 units on Gamrot. I was like, his cardio is going to be there. The wrestling's going to be there. Jalen Turner has been taken down by Matt Frivola 4 times in that fight. Gamrot's going to do that. 2 takeaways. 2 very different takeaways. Jalen Turner is much, much better than a lot of people think. And yes, he was out-wrestled by one of the best wrestlers in this division. But Jalen Turner's going to come back, and Jalen Turner's going to do some things. He is a problem for a lot of people. I think he'll still have issues with matchups like this. Like an Arman Sarukian will give him issues. An Islam Makhachev will give him issues. But the quickness, the improvement we're seeing in his takedown defense is incredible. And in a couple of fights, all of a sudden that takedown defense will absolutely be there. So Jalen Turner is the real deal. A lot of respect for him, and he is not a fade in his next fight. Gamrot, I think I'm going to have to fade him in his next fight. There's only so many times you can get dropped. There's only so many times you're going to squeak out these razor close decisions with the wrestling. Because the reality is he was dropped twice. And some of these judges see I see a man desperately diving at legs and then dropping when he gets hit really hard. And yes, he won and I cashed and I'm good. I don't know who they're going to give him next. I know this was short notice, but I don't know if I can trust Gamrot going forward with my money. So let me know in the comments what you think of that. If you think that's an awful take, he went in there, he dominated. How could you? Or if it's yeah, he won that by the skin of his teeth. The skin of his teeth. And there's only so many times this dude could just get hit and dropped and then continue to wrestle. Eventually he's going to get hit, dropped, hit 10 more times and not be able to get the takedown to cover it up. Shavkat Rakhmonov is the real deal. 17 fights. He's got 7 submissions, 8 knockouts. He's got a chin on him, and this was the fight of the night for me. This was the fight of the night. This was a back and forth war. Jeff Neal looked phenomenal. He looked phenomenal. He was throwing big, huge power shots. He was taking shots. It wasn't until that incredible right hand from Shavkat that Jeff, his nose exploded and he was leaking. This fight was unbelievable. Shavkat Rakhmonov is very, 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 very good. Very good. But he needs to tighten up some of that striking defense. I don't think he's ever needed striking defense before. I think he's just blasted people, taking him down. He's never had to worry about getting hit. He got hit, and he got hit pretty often last night. His chin is there. Now we know Shavkat Rakhmonov has a freaking chin. And I don't know who's going to give him trouble because he is so good everywhere. He can grapple. He can wrestle. He's so good everywhere. I don't know who's going to give him trouble, but Jeff Neal gave him a little bit of trouble last night. Ultimately, he broke Jeff and then got it done, but Jeff Neal gave him some trouble. Shavkat's the real deal. This fight was awesome. It was an awesome fight. I loved every second of it. To me, this was absolutely fight of the night. especially because a lot of people didn't give Jeff Neal a ton of credit. The biggest upset of the year. Alexa Grasso beats Valentina Shevchenko, takes the belt from the most dominant female champion of all time. And it was interesting because Valentina Shevchenko, you could argue she lost that first round. You could argue she lost the first round because Alexa Grasso was in her face. She was busy. And frankly, if Alexa Grasso was a little bigger and had some power, she might have caused some real issues for Valentina Shevchenko on the feet because she was connecting. But she has no power whatsoever. So Valentina was able to get it done with the wrestling. I think she was like, I'm getting hit a little too much. Let me wrestle here. Let me get this back. Valentina left the end of that first round, and she was just squeezing Alexa's head. She stood up, and she was fucking pissed. Pissed. Came out in the second round, grappled like heavy. Started beating Alexa Grasso up. Tides were turning. This was Valentina's fight. Getting more comfortable. Decides to do a spinning back kick like she's freaking Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Spins like an idiot. Alexa jumps on her back, chokes her out, takes the belt. Why did you spin? Why did you spin? That stupid spin broke the safety parlay base. The freaking base. All 4 people were in that safety parlay. 3 of them won convincingly. And then you had to spin around in a circle doing a pirouette in the middle of a fist fight and got choked out. Valentina is still the greatest female champion of all time. We'll see how she bounces back. I don't think this was, to me, it was a mistake. She made one mistake and Alexa Grasso capitalized. This was not a beating. This wasn't a drudging. Maybe this was karma catching up to her because a lot of people think she lost that last fight. And karma was like, we'll take this one back. They'll probably do an immediate rematch. Valentina Shevchenko will come out, grapple heavy, and beat the piss out of Alexa Grasso. That's what's going to happen. And maybe we'll get a discount. Remember when Amanda Nunes lost to Juliana Pena? She was a minus whatever the hell favorite, lost to Juliana Pena. Then in the rematch, all of a sudden we're getting a discount. Amanda Nunes is minus 300. And she's the greatest of all time. How the hell you know? And we hammered that line. We made a ton of money. I think that's what's going to happen here. Valentina opened. We got her at like minus 450 in the safety parlay. She ballooned up to minus 900. Then lost. I think in this next fight, in the rematch, we might get her down and the minus 400 closing, minus 300s. She might open at minus 200 favorite, which would be a steep discount on the best woman in this division. She should win this rematch. She made one mistake. She looked bad in the first round, made the adjustments, was winning, then made one single mistake, and it cost us fight. Congrats to Alexa Grasso. I mean, what else are you supposed to do? She went in there. She was winning the striking exchanges. She was getting bullied, getting out grappled, stayed in it. Saw her opportunity, jumped on her back, got it done. So good for Alexa Grasso, the only underdog on this entire card to win their fight. And Jon Jones is the GOAT. He's the best to ever do it. Period. End of story. The Stipe Miocic fight, he's going to murder Stipe. He's going to absolutely murder. Because Stipe's not that big. And I get it. Stipe's got an iron jaw for the most part. Stipe can also wrestle, clean boxing. I think Jon Jones is going to beat Stipe. I don't think Stipe is the big issue. I think a Jalton Almeida is the big issue for Jon Jones. Anyway, he made easy work of Ciryl Gane. Absolutely easy work. My breakdown was Jon Jones is the best to ever do it. I want him to win. I don't know if he's going to win. 3 years away, 40 pounds heavier. Ciryl Gane might be able to avoid, and bad take. Absolutely bad take. Luckily for me, I was very clear to you and myself, I am not betting on this fight. There's too many unknowns. We have the greatest of all time, but he's going up in weight after 3 years away, fighting a true heavyweight. So I didn't spend any money on this fight whatsoever. I just wanted to be able to watch it and enjoy it. I got the pick wrong, but that was amazing to watch. That was one of the most exciting main events, not the fight itself, but I was so pumped for that. The anticipation was getting to me. I didn't know what was going to happen. I'm so glad I didn't have a bet because then I get nervous and I put a bet on the board for you guys and I'm oh my God, are the premium members going to make their money back? And luckily, none of that. I got to enjoy this fight. Jon Jones, absolute trash human being. Just not a good person. But holy shit, is he the greatest fighter to ever do it. To ever do it. He won the belt as the youngest UFC champion of all time, defended that belt 14 times in a row, left for 3 years, came back, 3 years older, 40 pounds heavier, won the heavyweight championship. If he beats Stipe, then not only is he the greatest of all time, the greatest light heavyweight of all time, then you could say he is the greatest heavyweight of all time. So many things going well for Jon Jones. Absolutely incredible. I can't wait for his next. Hopefully it's not a year. This dude takes a year off between every. Hopefully it's not a year. Let's get him in there. I think they were saying June or July last night. So hopefully that actually happened. Guys, again, UFC 285 was a massive success betting-wise. The safety parlay missed. Valentina Shevchenko, it is what it is. It is what it is. Spinning around in a circle, blew out the safety parlay. But even with the 3-unit loss on the safety parlay, we're up net 13.13 units. My bets outside the safety parlay all did really well. Jacob, I mean, this dude shot his shot and did it hit. A plus 727 parlay hit. Tabatha Ricci by submission hit at plus 600. Plus 160, Tabatha Ricci minus 3.5. I mean, his bets crushed. Mine did as well. The Bo Nickel less than 2 takedowns was very solid money. And I also had Tabatha Ricci minus 3.5 at plus 160. And then Gamrot, Tabatha Ricci money line. Guys, hopefully you did well. Hopefully you made money. Premium members, all of these Jacob bets were behind that paywall. So hopefully premium members tailed appropriately and got that done. Don't forget about the line movement tracker. These are all available to premium members. You can come in here, see that movement, jump on or jump off a train. And UFC Vegas 71, it's already up. It's already updated. Our bets are up. The picks are up. The line movement tracker is updated, ready to go. And there is some interesting line movement on that card already. We've added metrics and analytics. We have a 38-column spreadsheet for every single event with every single detail you could ever want for a fighter, for a matchup, so you can find your spots, make your decisions, scroll your eyes across. Oh, wow, this person has this percentage striking defense. This person has this percentage takedown accuracy. They average this many takedowns per fight. Look at the reach. Look at the odds. All of that information right here in one single spreadsheet. We then take that information, we divide it up, we have it on the website so you can interact with it, you can play with it, you can make decisions. It is all available to premium members for $10 a month. Everything I ever mention is only $10 a month collectively. Do not pay $20. Do not pay $30, $50. Don't do the tiered pricing. There's absolutely no reason to do any of that bullshit. Anything you could ever need, we have $10 a month at WeWantPicks.com. Just click Become a Member. And if you want $50 to kick off your weekend to recover from that Valentina Shevchenko upset of the year, just go to WeWantPicks.com/bets. Sign up with any one of our betting partners. Make a deposit. I will send you $50 as a thank you. They're going to pay me. I'm going to cut off a piece of that, and I'll give it back to you. WeWantPicks.com/bets.